this alone. You do not carry this alone. This is way too big to carry it on your own. So you don't carry it alone. We don't carry it alone. We don't carry it alone. This is way too big to carry it on our own. But we don't carry this alone. We will walk each other home. We will walk each other home. The road is way too wide to walk it on our own. But we will walk it together and not alone. Together and not alone. Another world is possible. Another world is possible. People together unstoppable. People together unstoppable. Another world is possible. Another world is possible. People together unstoppable. People together unstoppable. We will walk each other home. We will walk each other home. This road is way too wide to walk it on our own. So we will walk each other home. And when we forget, remember, you don't walk this road alone. Don't carry it on your own. This is way too big to carry it on your own. So you don't carry it alone. May it be so.
Thank you so much, Reverend. And with that, I'd like to introduce Pastor McDowell. Have some more next week.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Hide it under a bushel? Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Light of hope, the light of hope, I'm gonna let it shine. Light of hope, I'm gonna let it shine. Light of hope, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Light of peace, light of peace, I'm gonna let it shine. Light of peace, I'm gonna let it shine. Light I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And last one, light of justice. Light of justice. I'm gonna let it shine. Light of justice. I'm gonna let it shine. Light of justice. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you so much, Robert. And I'd like to
Salvation. True salvation goes like this. Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. Can we do it? All right, all right, all right. How does it feel to be free? How does it feel when you've been broken 16? What does it feel like when all people are there? What does it feel like when we're all safe in bed? Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. When will we stand up for each other's rights? When we're together we can put up a fight. When will we celebrate all God's children? When will our worship be love and justice? Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. One more time. Liberation, liberation. True salvation, true salvation. Liberation.
like we did 250 years ago, rebel against the man king and defend democracy in America.
What I think is right. They do the same thing. We're driving through their little that same cloud.
Joining another week of our anti-imperialist campaign action weeks. These weeks are designed to go deeper with each of our Code Pink campaigns, learn more about the people behind the movement and how all of our liberation work is connected to Palestine, to Venezuela, what we'll be talking about tonight, to Cuba, to peace with China, and to peace with the planet. If you've missed any of our webinars, calling parties, or didn't grab any resources, feel free to be looking throughout the night. I'll put two in right now, our webinar from last week, as well as our current sign-up page for Latin America actions, and stay till the end to be in action with us and to receive all the updates for the rest of this week and the rest of our campaign actions. I'm going to briefly go over the norms, and then I will pass it to Michelle to get us started. But as always, we need to be respectful. This isn't a debate, but a discussion. We're not here to mediate arguments. We're here to learn from each other, be in action together. We want to be kind, be curious, and please, above all else, if you could please stay muted, put your thoughts and questions in the chat. We record and live stream all of our actions and all of our webinars for future use, so we want to make sure that this will be useful for people for years and years to come to learn from. So thank you all so much once again for being here, and I will pass it to Michelle.
Thank you so much, Grace. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for this Monroe Doctrine 2.0, the Venezuela case study. I'm Michelle Elner. I'm the coordinator of Code Pink's Latin America campaign, and I'm so glad to be with you as we continue this urgent conversation on U.S. intervention and Latin America resistance. Before we begin this discussion, I want to take a moment to share what this campaign is about and why it matters so much right now. At Code Pink, our Latin America campaign is working to finally break with this logic that has defined U.S. policy towards Latin America. That is this idea for 2 centuries that Latin America is somehow the U.S.'s backyard, and we are organizing to demand a good neighbor policy for the 21st century that is rooted on respect and sovereignty and non-intervention. And our mission is simple, but is urgent, is to inspire, educate, and activate people in the U.S. to finally see our neighbors as partners in building a hemisphere of peace, dignity, and true solidarity. And this commitment to solidarity is not just an idea, it's something that at least I've experienced personally. When I first became involved with Code Pink, the US regime was trying to seize the Venezuelan embassy, which they eventually did. And there I met this amazing group of peace activists who refused to let that happen. They standed inside the embassy and defending a nation that was under attack. You know, I learned there that solidarity isn't just words, but or statements. It's the courage to act, to show up, and to stand with others, even when it's uncomfortable or even risky. We know that U.S. intervention in Latin America takes many forms. It's a hybrid warfare, which is a coordinated system of economic blockades, covert operations, media manipulation, and military buildup. And it also takes a form here at home with ICE raids and deportation flights. It's the domestic phase that empire does abroad. It's now here too. The resistance also have many faces. It's Venezuelans organizing under a blockade. It's Cuban doctors bringing healthcare around the world. It's Nicaraguan communities defending sovereignty. Our region is full of life, creativity, and courage, and that's what this campaign tries to uplift, right? Last week we had in our Latin America Weeks of Action, we brought that vision to life. I co-hosted with Medea Benjamin a webinar about the Monroe Doctrine and the long history of the Monroe Doctrine, featuring Jill Clark-Gallup and Vivian Lesnick-Westman and Steve Elner. Then on Tuesday, we had Terry Madsen and we had Adrian unpack Code Pink's film Migration Made in the USA, exposing the US role in forced migration. And then throughout the week, through articles and media posts and radio shows, we kept connecting the dots. Then finally on Friday, we had a great time at the Latin America dance workshop because, you know, like it was joy is also resistance. And that's the way we closed the week. It's
how we remember what we are fighting for and not only what we're fighting against. And today we are carrying that energy forward. 2 centuries after the Monroe Doctrine was declared, Washington continues to use this logic to justify domination across our hemisphere and to help unpack how this doctrine is being not even rebranded, but repackaged and weaponized today. We have amazing guests. We're joined today by Ana Bracho, Carlos Ron, and Diego Sequeira, which Terry is going to introduce a little later. Three powerful Venezuelan voices who will, help us see through the struggle and through the eyes of those living its consequences and leading the fight towards sovereignty. And guiding today's conversation is our incredible volunteer, Terry Madsen, someone that we at Code Pink love very much. She has dedicated all her life, basically, to Latin America. She has spent over 40 years traveling and organizing delegations, I think, through every country in the hemisphere, I think. She's volunteers with Compass Beyond Borders, and she also works with the Venezuela Solidarity Network, Sanctions Kill, and she also hosts Code Pinks, of course, What the F is Going On in Latin America. Terry, please take it away. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We have a very powerful and timely conversation ahead with three guests who we're so very fortunate. They're all joining us live from Venezuela tonight. And we're so happy for all of you that you could do this. So let me just jump right into who's with us tonight. Ana Bracho from Zulia. And Ana is a writer and lawyer with a master's in law from the University of Cayenne, Lower Normandy, author of several books and recipient of the Annabelle Nasoa Journalism Award 2019, Best Writer 2020, and the Simón Bolívar National Journalism Award 2023 for her column Mejor Ni Te Cuento en Epale, Caracas. And we also this evening have Diego Sequeira joining us, who has been with us before. Diego holds a degree in literature from the Central University of Venezuela. Most of his work has focused on journalism, research, and political analysis. He has also worked as an editor, translator, and screenwriter, as well as a consultant, a frequent contributor to various national and international media outlets in both English and Spanish, and he has been on a lot of podcasts recently. He received the award for Best Opinion Article at the Sob Media Festival in Tehran. And also tonight we have Carlos Ron joining us, who all of you have seen before on some of our WTF episodes. Carlos is a former Venezuelan diplomat who served as Deputy Foreign Minister for North America 2018 to 2025 and President of the Simón Bolívar Institute for Peace and Solidarity Among Peoples 2020 through 2025. He holds degrees from Rutgers University and the University of Brasilia and is pursuing a PhD in Our American Studies at CELARC. His research focuses on hyper-imperialism, Bolivarianism, Marxism in Latin America, and people's diplomacy. He contributed to Why Venezuela, How the U.S. Tries to Undermine Democracy and Sovereignty in Latin America, and he is also currently with Nuestra America with the Tricontinental Institute. So welcome all of you. What an honor to have all of you joining us live from Venezuela tonight. So happy that we could make this happen. Let me just review a couple things with the audience before I have the three of you jump into the conversation. Last week, as Michelle mentioned, was part one of our Monroe Doctrine project with the 2-week campaign. And Steve Elner was one of the guests, and he highlighted a couple key points that I think we should reiterate. Capitalism, empire, natural resources, cheap labor. are all related to imperialism. There was a specific focus last week on Cuba and Nicaragua. And so tonight is specifically dedicated to how the Monroe Doctrine applies to Venezuela. A lot has been happening in the last 24 hours. And so as I check my social media, I see there's so many things we have to keep talking about. And I hope we stay up to the current moment with all of you. So maybe I think we should start very briefly, just for those of you who are joining us who want to know so much more about why Venezuela is in the crosshairs of the United States. It's not anything new. So maybe, Carlos, you could give us a brief recap of Monroeism versus Bolivarism so that we can all understand how differently the North and South of America view foreign policy and integration. And then all of us could perhaps talk about the last 20, 25 years, very briefly, a brief timeline, let's say 2002 through this moment, as to the various forms of U.S. intervention on Venezuela, so that we can see that this moment is an escalation in a continuum of intervention over the last 25 years of Chavismo. So, Carlos, maybe you could give us a quick recap, and then then all of you maybe give us a nice timeline of intervention, and then let's have a conversation about what's happening in this moment.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Terry, Shell, and everybody for putting this together. This is, for us here in Venezuela, we are very grateful for this opportunity to speak to a U.S. audience and everybody else around the world who's joining. You are asking me to summarize 200 years of tensions between in an entire continent in very quickly. So let's see how I can do that. But I think that the way we can probably approach this is to say that there's over 200 years of tensions between the former colonies in this continent, and then you have a great collective of those who were colonies from the Spanish Empire, who fought, after, by the inspiration given of the Haitian Revolution. They fought for the independence of South America, or all of what we know now as Latin America, basically under the principles of unity, trying to maintain the regional unity, trying to defend sovereignty, creating their nation states, and also with a social project that I think we can say try to defend dignity, because what is often not included in the history evaluation of the Bolivarian project, the one led by Simón Bolívar, is that there was a social project, one that was against slavery, one that was for public education,